I grew up on the south side of the city. I was raised with a black mom and a white dad, and I grew up mostly with my mom, and so we lived in mostly all black neighborhoods. I went to all black schools. You have African Americans that are currently oppressed by this system that wasn't designed for their prosperity in the first place. How are we going to address this issue of racial prejudice and racial injustice, and how will we create a system that allows for all people to prosper spiritually and materially?
In our region, people in higher castes who work in government offices, in schools, and in public places are always in positions of authority. For this reason, those who are rich are becoming richer, and those who are poor just become poorer and poorer. When will this gap between the castes end?
My family in particular
is one of those traditional Chilean families. Religion and community life were always very present. I thought there was no room to question these types of traditions, that we were just repeating. I was really longing to find someone to tell me it's okay for you to think differently, to have a different understanding of the world.
When I think of my childhood or I think of my adolescence, it was a violent society, and it was a society that was divided. And the way that was expressed was through, really through a war. Often people that you knew got killed. Because it's everywhere, it's very difficult to have a vision of life that transcends what's happening. I began to ask questions about the way we lived in this country. You know, why are we a society at war? We don't seem so different. Are we so different?
The society I was born into, and within which I grew up, has its own very beautiful traditions, and I like these traditions very much. However, there is still this attitude towards girls that puts them in a lower position than boys.
Erkaklarga nisbatan bo'lgan munosabatdan ko'ra pastroq hisoblanadi.
And this attitude becomes an obstacle for girls to pursue an education and fully develop their capacities. Why don't we give the same opportunities to girls? Aren't we, women, also created by God?
When my parents got divorced, I was about 8 or 9 years old. At that age, you don't really understand the long-term kind of implications. This union that's been the source of life, really, that breaks. It really makes me wonder, like, how those emotions of fear, of anger, and resentment and helplessness, how they give way to joy, to hope, to the ability the ability to rebuild unity in one's family.
I was lost, with no purpose. I was a person without any dream, a person without any identity. One of the most difficult things for a human being is to leave his country, leave his home, leave his family. I decided to leave Iraq for a number of reasons, spiritual and material. We would mainly engage in argument to prove that my opinion is better than yours, my religion is better than yours, and my race is better than yours. Was the human being created to develop his soul, or to cause destruction and to create conflicts, which have no solution and no common goal?
Thanks to our girls, we are usually up at this time of the day. The girls are knocking on our door and demand to get in. So you have no choice but to get up. Yeah.
But have you said your prayers already?
You can see some light, ushering in the dawn of a new day. I grew up in a very religious home with the notion that the religion that I was following was the right one. But, as I grew older, I began to get concerned. Does God not approve of other religions? If someone, for example, was born in another part of the world and they found themselves belonging to another religion, were they condemned? I just couldn't believe that God was like that. There had to be an explanation for the existence of different religions. All the problems that we are facing collectively as humanity is like a sickness. And the revelation of Baha'u'llah is that remedy. It is going to impart life. And so we have to take it upon ourselves and put it into action.
A mature tree is one that produces fruits for others to benefit. One of the signs of maturity is service to others. So in the same way, humanity also has become of age and has reached its level of maturity right now. So it is in that context that also what we do here is try to be of service to mankind. And this group that I work with is learning how they can advance knowledge in terms of food production so that this community around us can benefit from that knowledge.
This is the day of God that I used to read about. It is going to take effort of us, just as ordinary human beings as we are. God has given us this bounty to transform the world into the paradise that we all hoped for.
For a long time, we were afraid to come here because we didn't know the neighbors and no one was participating in the activities. Once we began to find some youth and they started their own core activities, those around them began to participate and allow strangers to enter their neighborhood. And little by little, we started to notice the sense of safety you feel and the easy interaction that can occur with any neighbor in the neighborhood. which we couldn't do 5 years ago. The neighbors themselves arise to serve, bring their children to the activities, and are concerned about the children of the entire community, not just their own.
Carrying out these activities in the community is incredible because you can see how the children are changing. And when it happens in the children, it spreads to the whole neighborhood and it expands. And that's what we want to do, right? Bring Baha'u'llah's message of unity to the whole world, of individual and spiritual transformation, and bring service to our lives. I don't think I could see my life without service. I think it would be incomplete.
The concept of worship is something that is united in the writings of Baha'u'llah and the Bab with service. The Bab says, the days when idol worship were deemed sufficient have ended, and that the time has come when not but the purest motive supported by deeds of stainless purity would be acceptable unto him. The vision of this house of worship is one in which people come in to say prayers from every background, from every walk of life, but also they flow out of this temple to go and to do deeds that are of service to humankind.
Several months ago, I actually didn't really know what the Baha'i faith was. So I went to the temple for the first time and was so moved by being there that I wanted to learn more. So I met as many people as I could. I went to devotionals, and that's how I met this community. And they told me about the work they were doing in the neighborhood, and it just, to me, was the most obvious way to work towards unity and peace, starting at the community level and really working towards making the world a better place. So I felt like I had to get involved in that.
I was on a search trying to understand religion, and I went up to the house of worship and sat in and listened to the program that was presented. Basically, it speaks to me about this vision of who we are as individuals and as a collective. We're one human family, not separate races. It has to be a spiritual solution to this issue.
And many people, when they come to this temple and they feel the spirit when they walk in through the door, they want to know how can they, replicate that in their own neighborhood, in their own community. Baha'is and their friends have been trying to learn about this for some time, where they bring together anyone in their neighborhood, anyone on their block, into their homes to say prayers, to converse about the needs of their community, and then to go and try to build capacity so that they can be of service to those needs in the community.
So this message that Baha'u'llah brings is the educational tool to bring us out of this darkness.
We have a tradition in our country of cooking sumarak. We always cook it around the first day of spring. Its cooking process is quite complex and requires the participation of many people. We need to work for the education and betterment of society in the same way. Almost 50 youth participate in the spiritual education lessons. The program has had a major impact on girls to help them recognize the importance of education in their lives. So, just as we shared Sweet Sumalak with others, we share the teachings and the program with others. We are now almost 200 people trying to contribute to the betterment of our village. These teachings are the best tool for the unity and progress of our village. Both women and men share the same responsibility for the progress of society. And the results we are achieving belong to all of us, not only to our village, but to the whole world and all nations.
The teachings of Baha'u'llah and the Bab have a very special resonance in the context of Northern Ireland. It's a society that has been divided along religious lines from its beginning. We drove through two communities that very strongly mark their territory by the symbols in the neighbourhood and saying, you know, this is us, you must identify with this particular allegiance. In the context of Belfast, you know, the hub is very significant because it stands for something that tries to connect people to something that is for everyone.
So do you remember we were talking about thankfulness and being thankful and what we're thankful for? Oh yeah, you do. You remember. Do you not remember we made our
It's a very diverse neighbourhood and many of the people who live here are young people and they've seen glimpses of what it can be for people to work together. We've been trying to make it beautiful so it'll also be a place that people can come and feel the spirit of what the physical building represents, which is that so powerful is the light of unity, it can illuminate the whole earth.
In our process of inviting the friends in that local area to come to the hub, what's behind it is the oneness of humanity. That's the motivating principle.
What we're trying to do is work with young people who can get a vision for a future for Northern Ireland that can be unified.
Everybody swing your partner.
The fundamental teaching of Baha'u'llah is the oneness of humanity. Your primary allegiance is to humanity, you know, and that it must supersede, you know, your allegiance to your nation or to your tribe.
A big finish.
For the last 3 years, we've been coming together to serve. Everyone in the village, community leaders, social workers, business owners, the local community bank, and the parents of the children who attend Baha'i children's classes, they are all helping us with this service project.
I have been serving as the village chief for the past 21 years. When the Baha'i program started, I was invited for consultations with them. Because Baha'i activities are going on in our community, it makes my job as chief of the village easier because our village is now safe and secure. I receive suggestions, and the spiritual education in the Baha'i program is helping to develop our community even more.
It is essential for children to come to children's classes and to receive spiritual education, how to be honest, how to walk on the path of truth, how to develop patience.
There should be no caste. The various groups should not be separate. There should be the oneness of humanity in the world. This is happening now. This is a very important development.
Through the teachings and principles of Baha'u'llah, we see changes in the everyday lives of the people, in the language they use, their behavior, and their work. In their everyday life, we see Baha'u'llah's teachings being translated into action.
Smiles everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, go on. Ready? You got a flat tire, I got a spare. So we're going to color it straight. We can all paint one and then look at them and be like, okay, that's it. This is what we're working towards, just so we have something that we've actually done, and then it's easy to learn or think about how we're here together, working on a ngatu for our family. In Tonga, the practice of creating ngatu is very much a collective practice. When we look at a beautiful ngatu, what we're seeing is incredible patience and love, and a group of people that were able to work for something so much greater than just themselves.
We're trying to create something that we do together. It's a unified family, you know? Yesterday I was waking along, but I was having tears. Because I know it is something that will prove the unity of a family.
We really wanted to do it during the special year of the bicentenary of the birth of the Bab. There's a beautiful quote from the Bab that says that whoever possesseth power over anything must elevate it to its uttermost perfection, so that it not be deprived of its own paradise. If we have control over the culture of our family, how do we elevate that also to perfection? If we have a vision of our communities that can be more beautiful and more unified, so we have a responsibility to try and work towards that. It's a beautiful way to gain perspective or a sense of purpose that's aligned with the teachings of the Bab and Baha'u'llah.
They're learning with one another, and there's understanding of how the work in the family benefits the whole community, and they are not separate things. That's what Baha'u'llah has done for us.
They may see each other as one family, and the whole earth as one home. That they'll live together in perfect harmony, all without kind road, unite.
There is a team of close friends here in Vienna, all of us from different backgrounds. There are Persians, Austrians, Arabs, and it is a blessing for us to take the responsibility to contribute to the building of our communities. Naga and Hamoudi are both Kurdish. The rest of us are Arabs. Maybe this gathering wouldn't happen in other places, right? I think one of the most important things that transformed my life is finding the path of service. Language Cafe is an idea that came from the junior youth program. Considering that the junior youth from ages 11 to 15 are enrolled in school, and have quickly learned the local language, they're able to serve their elders and the people who have difficulties learning the language.
الناس اللي كبار في السن، الناس اللي صعب عليهم يتعلمون اللغة.
This age group has so many talents, and at the same time, they have a great sense of purpose and passion to build vibrant communities.
شغف عالي في بناء جامعات حقيقية نابضة بالحياة. هنا نرى
Here we see the true attraction to beauty. When so many people from different religions and backgrounds come together as a united and mutually supportive community, we can see the movement of a whole population towards the teachings of Baha'u'llah. The unquestionable truth is love. Love is what we share with everyone in our society. Love is the reason we exist.
O peoples of the earth, verily the resplendent light of God hath appeared in your midst, invested with this unerring book, that ye may be guided aright to the ways of peace, and by the leave of God step out of the darkness into the light, and onto this far extended path of truth.